Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine with another episode of my playlist video. I think this is week 4 now, and there's one of these every week. Sometimes there's 2 if I haven't quite caught up with myself. And what I really love about doing these is hearing your feedback and what you've been playing as well. And I know I don't have a chance to answer everybody because I'm getting so many comments now across this channel. There are hundreds per day, but I read every one of them, and I do, put a little heart and thumbs up on everything. And it's really inspirational for me to see what you've been playing. And you know what? The other thing that really, really pleases me is the fact that when I do these videos, I do have concerns sometimes thinking, what are people going to think of this? Some of my tastes are so varied and so sometimes how I feel off the wall because, I am from a rock background. And then the fact is that you write down all your lists and they're just as varied as mine. And I think I'm very lucky in that what Now Spinning Magazine represents is a place where it's very safe and relaxed and casual, in that you can talk about any genre from any period in history and it's all fine. Because I know in the world of social media, you get lots of channels which are just metal or just whatever else, and there's not much room for anyone else, or the audience doesn't understand. But hopefully you do. So what's been on my playlist for this week? Garth Hudson has sadly passed away. He was the last member of the band. In some ways, probably the best name for a band in the world, if you're called the band. This box set is from the early 90s. And I'll be honest with you, I was not a huge fan of the band at the time. They were either a bit too folky, a bit too countryish for me. And how did I get hold of this? I mean, I don't know if you can see this, but this is from the early 90s. This is when box sets were this size, even if they only had 3 CDs in them. Nowadays, this would just be a digipack, which to fold out with different panels on. But in those days, I mean, this is padded. It's really luxurious. Just put that there so you can see it in the background. And the booklet itself was very posh. Look, with this like transparent paper as if it was a really posh book, and really nice photographs all on kind of sepia paper, really nice design on the front. I'm saying that because they went to so much trouble. And I guess to put things in perspective with something like this is the whole band are now no longer with us. But when this was put together, I think they're all interviewed and they all give their notes about their career and everything else. And I don't know what it was. Maybe it was they were too countryish, what put me off from them. And how I got this box set, where I used to work for a market research company, the charts unit, I've mentioned this before, was based there. And every box set or album that was released, the British Museum has to register a copy, and it used to go there to be catalogued. And then every so often the department would sell things off. So I got this for about £4, I think. And I played a few tracks and realised that it wasn't really for me. And my mum, who was really into country western, I thought she'll like this. And I know one of my older cousins liked it because I remember songs like Rag Mama Rag. And that was it. And so I didn't have it anymore. And then sadly, my mum passed away from a form of dementia just a few years ago. And me and my sister were going through all the stuff. And it's really an interesting observation in a way, all the things I bought her. And she loved music. She loved like Chris Christopherson and lots of country artists like that. And so I bought her loads of stuff over the years. And when we were going through deciding who to have what, of course, all these things I bought to Simon and Garfunkel and everything, they came back to me. And it was really strange, like going through all these things that I'd bought her for birthdays and Christmas and all the rest of it. And this was one of them, the band. And so there was a kind of an emotional attachment to it as well. But basically what happened was I was really lucky last year that I interviewed Simon Kirke from Bad Company and Free. And as you know, Free are one of my favourite bands of all time. And we were talking about the ballads, Be My Friend and all that kind of stuff. And Simon said, of course, Andy Fraser and Paul Rodgers are really into the band. They used to listen to, music from the Big Pink and all that. And then the penny dropped in a way because I thought, I've got to listen to this again. So I thought, I've had this box set back from when I went to my mum's when we were sorting the house out. So I sat down and listened to it properly because this contains like literally the entire back catalogue, especially the early albums are all included in here, almost track by track. And then as it goes through the later albums, it gets less and less tracks selected because obviously the classics are the first ones, aren't they? And as I listened to it this time, I could hear Free in some of the songs, especially things like Be My Friend. And it penny dropped, and I was also thinking that, like my sons, Dan and Lee, are so much more open-minded at their age, 26 and in their early 30s, than I ever was back then. I'm open-minded now, but then I was really kind of narrow. Which is what I was saying the other week about genres and things, how young people just listen to music until someone sells them or tells them, by the way, that's rock or that's country. It's just music. So I've enjoyed listening to this. And because someone said to me, oh, Phil, no one's done a tribute on Garth Hudson. And I understand why. And no one's really mentioned him, and some newspapers did. But I did the John Sykes tribute, and I've been playing a lot of John Sykes as well. But it's just, I've had to explain it really. A lot of channels probably don't cover things like this. There's so much going on, or the audience aren't necessarily into it. And there's bound to be some of you going, oh, the band, it's not really my key, I'm not really into Bob Dylan or whatever. Because, of course, when I was growing up, my exposure to the band was the fact they were Bob Dylan's backing band on things like the Basement Tapes and stuff. However, as I waded through just the 3 CDs that sit in this box, the track that I've actually always liked from the beginning, which is from that first album, is Chest Fever. And the reason why I love Chest Fever, which is a Robbie Robinson song, is the majesty of the Hammond organ and the way it starts and then goes into those really fat Hammond chords before the band come rolling in a really relaxed but authoritative feel to that song. And if you're not sure about where to start with the band, start with Chest Fever. It's got a real immense Hammond sound, and of course those of you who are massive fans of this band and everything else will just be wading with all the extra stuff that people should be listening to in the comments. But I have enjoyed listening to that. The golden age of the early box sets, one of the first CD box sets around, that period, the Zeppelin, Steely Dan box sets, The Who, when box sets were seen as like really luxurious because we never had box sets really before. What else have I been playing? Another box set that arrived that I'd been after for a while, and this is the Monkees. I have not played all of this. In fact, I've only played the first album. This contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Monkees albums, including one with outtakes and B-sides and all the rest of it. I used to love the TV show. Every Saturday night, we used to come home and watch the Monkees. I think it was on that was when it first was really on in the UK. It's probably on around the same time. Was it Dixon of Dock Green? Was it around that time? I don't know. We always had fish and chips at home on a Saturday night, and I used to love watching the Monkees. And then, of course, there were reruns later in the 70s. But I've got a long way to go to explore this because before this, all I have. And it's a vinyl record, is the best of the Monkees. Or it could be the Monkees' greatest hits. Monkees. What else? As I said in my tribute, Blue Murder has been played a lot. Thank you for all of your comments about the John Sykes tribute video. I don't do them with any agenda attached to them, because I do them for the family of the person, and that's who I think about when I do those. So the fact a lot of you said, you thought I'd hopefully done a good job in that tribute video, that really does mean a lot to me. And it is so sad. And I really enjoyed playing Blue Murder. And I think if I go back now and revisit any of that, because I do all of my videos just off the cuff, I would probably make more of a thing about John's voice and how he had a range, and his voice was very close. Was close to Glenn Hughes. I just think he should have been a lot bigger than he was, but he had everything. He had absolutely everything, and this album to me is the focal point of his career. Solo albums I forgot to mention in the tribute, they're really good. Obviously the other albums in this series, 1987 I mentioned, but for me personally, this is the one I played the most. Absolutely loved it, and Sue remembers every track from this as well. Absolutely great. A lot of what I've been playing this week has been quite archival it's not been that new, I guess. The next one is Styx, and this is the Grand Illusion. I don't know what it is about A&M Records, but can any of you out there think of many box sets of remastered albums from A&M? Because Styx really do need, I would have said, a career-spanning box set. I know there's that little box set with these in, but nothing else, and you don't know they're remastered. But surely, I mean, even individually, the albums haven't really been looked after, I don't feel. This is actually one of my favourites. It's not my overall favourite, because that would be Pieces of Eight, easily. But this one, obviously, we Come Sail Away. He's absolutely fantastic. Man in the Wilderness, Miss America, Grand Finale, Fall in Yourself. Really, really superb album. I do like Styx. And this period of them, they were kind of like, were they American prog or pop? Or I know things like Babe and everything. Once we got to that era, I started to check out a bit. And more recently, the last two studio albums have been stunning. But yeah, this is a great one. The production's a bit top end to me now, and that's why I wonder, we could have a really great overview. That should be on my wish list, really, a Styx box set. The next one is a CD single with actually, is it 4 tracks? Is it? Yeah. And it's a band called Diesel Park West. I held it up and my brain emptied. And I probably bought this for 50p when CD singles existed as a thing and I couldn't afford CDs. I would experiment, and if it was cheap, I'd just buy it. I knew nothing about this band, but I really like this. And the track is When the Hoodoo Comes. And the reason why I played it was I was playing... I'd got my CD collection on in the car, and I just have it on random play. And this popped in because obviously I'd uploaded this to Apple Music. And I suddenly thought, God, what a great track. And Sue's singing along with it next to me. And I thought, these are the kind of things we used to play back in the day. In fact, when was this? I need a reference point. I need to know, how old was I? 1991. 1991, before children in our house. 1991, gosh. But it feels like a more recent record to me. But yeah, there you go. So Diesel Park West, who's heard of them? Was I the only person in the whole world playing that track When the Hoodoo Comes? Possibly. And then, again, because this popped up in the car literally after that, and it's Deep Purple, and Come Hell or High Water. I saw them on this tour. This is the Battle Rages on tour. And I've also got this on DVD. I was there in Birmingham when Richie Blackmore decided thought he was doing the best for us fans by throwing water over the cameraman because he didn't want the cameraman to spoil the view of the fans. But what was the reality of that? The fact is, he comes on 2/3 of the way into Highway Star, plays half the solos. He's in a bad mood. The band have to work really hard to make it happen. They film it anyway and they release it. It's a sad release, really. That is the DVD. This isn't, because on other nights on that tour, he was on fire. Richie Blackmore was absolutely on fire, and they've kind of mixed things in. I think Smoke on the Water's from Birmingham, but a lot of this is from Stuttgart, I think. Yeah, Stuttgart, because it features it's Child in Times on here, which is probably one of the last times that Ian Gillan ever sang it, but it's Enya, which is 12 minutes and 13 seconds long, because I think the version off the DVD is about half that. But the version of Enya on here features some of Richie Blackmore's finest playing, when he's really kind of immersing himself in this kind of snake charmer Eastern scale that he plays, and the improvisation and the groove that Glover and Pace lay down with Law just doing his little inflections on the keyboards, and Blackmore just goes for it. One of the finest moments. And I remember buying this with a bit of trepidation, to be honest, thinking, well, the tour was a bit iffy, because it was one of those things I think I've said to you before on another video. When you went to see Deep Purple or Rainbow, you took a gamble that Richie might not be in a good mood, and you would catch out for that. You know, the number of people I know who've seen Rainbow or Purple and gone, I don't know what the fuss was about, Blackmore didn't add his back to the audience or whatever, and I never had that, or he never did an encore. Every time I ever saw him, he did an encore, really. So I wondered how they'd pulled this together, but it's an essential piece of the Deep Purple story, and there's some fantastic moments on here. Perfect Strangers is great. Anyone Daughter, well, who'd thought they would have done that anyway, but Child of Time is good, but Enya. And of course, Speaking, because they do the burn riff, and he plays it properly. That's really, really good. Even Smoke on the Water is good. So Deep Purple, Come Hell or High Water. He remembers this dude, Rick Springfield. Again, we were on a long car journey and this came on, and Sue said, God, we haven't played him for ages, have we? And it was actually Living in Oz. And so I found it and streamed the whole album, and then when we got home, we played it again, because this is one of his best albums. Really fantastic AOR melodic rock, just really fantastic songs. Human Touch is brilliant. Alison, Affairs of the Heart, Living in Oz, Me and Johnny, Motel Eyes, Tiger by the Tail, Souls, I Can't Stop Hurting You, Like Father Like Son. There is not one bad track on this. If you love melodic rock, AOR, then stream that. It's almost like a greatest hits album without being a greatest hits album, or best of. It's superb. Absolutely fantastic singer, great songwriter. And do we have a Rick Springfield box set? We don't, do we? It's not A&M, is it? No, it's RCA. But yeah, someone else who, to be honest, has released some incredible albums and live DVDs that only made it as far as VHS. Somebody, Rick Springfield, deserves a box set and those VHS converted into DVD. Great stuff. What else? The Doobie Brothers, and this is Southbound, which I have on vinyl. It's only just arrived, in fact. This was an album that crept in over in the UK without any kind of fuss at all. And basically, when I saw it, and I bought it in a record fair, and it was about £4, and I could see straight away that it looked like another best of, but it wasn't. They'd reworked old songs. I never liked that kind of stuff when people re-record things. And that includes bands like UFO when they re-record Lights Out, whatever, for Walk on Water. I was because you cannot capture what went before. And I know lots of bands do it, saying, "Oh, the technology is different now," but I just don't like it. So I bought it because I'm a completist for the Doobie Brothers, and I didn't expect much. But it's really good. It has lots of guest artists, many of whom aren't familiar names to me from the world of Nashville, etc. Michael McDonald's on here. It covers everything. Blackwater, Listen to the Music, What a Fool Believes, Long Train Running, Trying to Grow, Taking It to the Streets, Jesus Is Just All Right, Rocking Down the Highway, Take Me in Your Arms, South City Midnight Lady, You Belong to Me, and Nobody. And it's joyous. It's absolutely joyous Doobie Brothers. The production really is pristine, deep, wide, luxurious. The vocals are stunning. The guest artists are stunning. The musicianship is stunning. I love the Doobies, me. And again, it's weird how Apple Music puts things in, because I was trying to search for it when we were in the car, and I couldn't find it. And I thought, I forgot this. Why is it not listed? Is it one of these albums where the licensing has lapsed? But it's because as soon as Apple Music sees a other artist attached to a name, it sticks it under various artists, and that's where it was hidden. But yeah, it's quite rare on vinyl. This one's orange vinyl. As I say, I've just found this on eBay, so I've not played it yet. But I'm looking forward to that. But that's Southbound by the Doobies. And then I've kind of rolled back to certain tracks, really, rather than the whole album. And it's Heartbreaker by Free. Probably because of listening to the band. If you're going to buy this on CD, get the 2016 remaster. But I've done a separate video on Heartbreaker, so I don't want to kind of repeat myself, really. But, this is the album with Wishing Well, Come Together in the Morning, with Kossoff's guitar literally crying and clawing at your heart to be let in. You must always let Paul Kossoff in. Travelling in Style, Heartbreaker, which is like a blind man, my little house is on fire. Just like a blind man, my little house is on fire. I'm burning my eyeballs out trying to reach the door. It's just so angst-driven. Muddy Water, Common Mortal Man, about having a bit of a naff job, where this kind of came in for me. I'm doing my series 16 in 1975 about my transition from being at school to work. But albums like this, as I was going through that whole kind of like teenage period, because I discovered records like this then. I was too young when they first came out. This is into 72, 73, isn't it? So there's no way then. So it was when I got money in my pocket, I started collecting free albums. So this one, I think I didn't get until I was probably 20, I think, 19. Easy on My Soul and Seven Angels. Seven Angels is probably the heaviest song that Free ever recorded. It literally is hard rock. And it's thunderous, and it's got that real driving 4/4 rhythm, Kossoff wailing in the background. But it's this kind of feeling that I ain't no slave. I'm in my right hand is a sword of truth. In my left hand is the fire of love. I call to the land, I call to the sea, I call to the sky. Lord, have mercy, won't you hear me? There's almost a kind of a spiritual aspect to this. And as I look behind me, what do I see? A pair of golden wings that seem to be attached to me. Wings on my back. I've got to fly away. I can't wait till tomorrow. I'm going to fly away. There I go. I remember coming back from holiday, for one of my first holidays with my mates, and going back to a factory. And that was just resonating around my head about, got to get away now. I've got wings on my back. It's a song that gave me so much hope about, starting something different, about doing what I want to do. And Seven Angels by Free, written by Paul Rodgers. It's a highlight of that catalogue. Oh, that is just one hell of a cover, isn't it? The angst in that pose. What else have I got? I'm gonna. And from there, something completely different. And has anyone else have heard of this artist? I wonder. The album is called Velvet Donkey. The artist is called Ivor Cutler. This is from 1974, I think. 75 even. I was close. How would you describe Ivor Cutler? I don't know. Folky, comedy. There's no one else like Ivor Cutler. And the attraction here, there's about 32 tracks on this. And the thing that drew me in was hearing a track called, and there are many tracks by Ivor Cutler with this name, but with different volumes, is Life in a Scotch Sitting Room, which is an observational monologue of what it was like growing up in some kind of, what it sounds like very bizarre, humorous, tragic place in Scotland. But there's Little Black Buzzard, which is based around the SOS thingy. So I think the whole song is like da da did 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 da da did. Seriously, you have to listen to it. It's bonkers. But I've got quite a bit by Ivor Cutler, and I haven't played it for a long time. And again, on this car journey, I bet you wish you were in the same car as me and Sue, don't you? A track from this came on, and so we dug out our Ivor Cutler stuff, and there's no Ivor Cutler box set either. It's not A&M. And then the last two are, as an artist that was appeared on last week's, which is Steve Winwood. And this album is called Refugees of the Heart. Fantastic production. And the track is In the Light of Day. And the reason I've focused on this is because, as good as it is, and it's nearly 10 minutes long, another CD single. You see, when I went to find the other one, I found this. Look at this. What CD singles used to be like velvet cover. Posh little box. And inside it came with, a postcard. It came with a peat frame family tree and the single. And the reason why this is special to me is because In the Light of Day is an instrumental on here, and it's a different mix. And the mix with the way that the bass drops down in amongst all the keyboard sequencing is just absolutely magical. It's one of my favourite moments from Steve Winwood. And in fact, this was a harder album to find. So I thought, well, I'll need this because I love that track so much. And the track is slightly different. It's got vocals on it for a start, and the mix is slightly different. So they're both essential, the album and the single. And then finally, ending on some rock music, it's Aldo Nova with a pose on the front. You would see that with the glare through my cover there. This is 1982. And it's amazing. Everyone I knew at the pub I used to go to were buying this because the opening track, Fantasy, Kerrang gave it such a fantastic review. It's huge. The guitar sound, Aldo Nova, his idea of song craftsmanship, engineering, production, the vision in his mind, fantastic artist. This and the one that comes after it, which is, the name has escaped me, are fantastic. He's done loads of great albums, but this one and the next one, no, I can't remember it. I'll have to feature it in another show. There's some kind of cheesy, overly lovey-dovey songs like Hot Love and stuff, It's Too Late and stuff, Heart to Heart. But over and above, there must be many people out there that thought Aldo Nova would be huge, and it was actually, Bon Jovi was listening. And of course, Bon Jovi, they must have arrived just when all the planets were in alignment, and for whatever reason, Aldo Nova didn't quite catch that train. Although he's obviously an incredibly successful guy, but when you think about the albums from that period, when we think of things like Slippery and Wet and Tooth and Nail by Dokken or whatever, we don't always think of this, and we should. So show some love even for Aldo Nova and his debut album from 1982. I'll stick that on there at the back while I do my outro. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for buying Now Spinning Magazine t-shirts and coffee mugs. And thank you for those of you who become patrons and YouTube members. You get to join. It's access only for members and patrons to join the private Facebook group and the WhatsApp group, which has deals and offers on all sorts of things and lots of information and new release news, etc. Plus, you get invites to our 2-a-month virtual meetups down our own virtual pub called the Now Spinning Arms, and you get to see all the videos and everything I do before they go out to the general public. But thank you, because all that support helps me to do this. This is what I do. This is my full-time gig now. So thank you. And remember, music is the healer and the doctor. So take care, all of you, and keep spinning those discs. And I'll talk to you all very, very soon.